Husband secretly planned for his mom to move in for 2 years. Now I'm fighting to keep our household as it is. My husband and I have been married for almost 2 years and our son is 10 months old. We live in Canada. I grew up here while my husband immigrated when he was a student. My parents live nearby, which has been invaluable during my pregnancy and since. My mom comes over regularly to help us out. My husband and her are on good terms too, so it's been going well. His parents live in another country. We have visited them once since we got married. That was 7 months ago. The time prior to that was our wedding itself, which took place there. My husband had been talking about my mill visiting soon for a long visit, which I was happy with. We recently moved into our new house. I've done a good job decorating it. We have a large guest room, and I was looking forward to hosting her, especially since it would make my husband happy. A couple of days ago he was complaining about how detailed her visa application was. I told him I was surprised it was so thorough. He told me that it's because while regular visa forms allow a stay of 6 months max, this one allows 2 years. I asked why would she need a stay of more than 6 months. He said that she had been thinking of winding up her medical practice and basically retiring, and this would then allow her to stay for a longer visit if we all decide that it works. I was stunned. I told him he should just do the regular app because his mom won't be staying for anywhere close to 6 months. I had it in my mind that she'd be staying for like a month. That's how long we stayed for when we went there. He said that's his mom. She tells him how alone she feels. She can't go to my bills because he lives with roommates, and we can't just put a timer on her visit here. He said she's been looking forward to helping us out with our son. I told him we don't need help, we manage fine on our own and with my mom's help. I wanted to host his mom as a guest, not as a part of our household. He complained that how was it fair that my parents could visit whenever they wanted while his can't. I was hurt by that because my parents have helped us out a lot, and I asked him if he wants us to limit how often my mom comes to visit. He said no, that's not what he meant, that he likes her but it wasn't fair to his parents. My reply was that when my mom comes, she goes at the end of the day. That wouldn't be the case with his. I ended it by saying he should look into the easier regular form because she can't be thinking of staying for that long. He chose to sleep on the couch that night and has been cold with me since. I hate that. We've never been cold to each other like this. I talked to my mom too. She said that having his mom live with us for long stretches would definitely affect me, that this is worth fighting for. I haven't seen him working on the application since. Last night he went out when his mom called. When he came back I asked him how she took it. He told me he had told her he's looking into what application best suits her. He asked me if I'd changed my mind. I said no. He just shook his head and started watching TV. AITA? Update 1. I told him I'm his wife of 2 years and the mother of his child. This isn't how we're going to communicate. We started talking after that. I held my ground that his mom staying with us for so long wasn't tenable. If she wanted to visit Canada for longer than a couple of months, she would have to live in her own apartment, learn how to drive, or use public transport. She's used to being driven by a hired driver in Pakistan, and a whole bunch of other changes that she'd need to get used to. That I don't see myself changing my mind on this, so he needs to be honest with her and himself and not go down the "we'll keep our options open" route. He said that he knows her living with us for an extended stay would require some changes on our part, but he was asking me to do this as a favor to him, that I claim to love him, and yet can't do him this favor for his mom. I actually started sobbing when he said this. It was so hurtful that he was using this as a litmus test for our love. I said her being around for years would ruin our parenthood with our first child, that I want us to raise our child the way we see fit, not his mom. Also, all the intimate moments we have, our sex life, everything would suffer. My parents are Pakistani too. I know this will happen. He again asked me to just not shut the door completely, that he'll tell his mom the stay can only be for a month or so, and I can let him know if I think the change wasn't too much. And we landed on a compromise that for now they'll do the regular visa app that only allows a max stay of 6 months. If I changed my mind, he'll do the super visa. He then had a long call with his mom, which his older sister also joined. It actually lasted an hour and a half. He was in the backyard for the call and came back in to grab a chair, it was that long. Also, from what I could see he was mostly listening for that convo. When he came back in, he told me to just not answer any calls or messages from his mom or sister. Meanwhile I've received like 4 missed calls and 20 messages from them, mostly Islamic quotes about the rights of parents. I've told them that I can't talk right now since I'm busy with my son right now. I asked him how it went. He said as well as he expected. But he's not giving me the cold shoulder anymore. I do feel guilty because like I said I was actually looking forward to host her for a month, and I think this whole thing may have caused irreparable damage not just to my relationship with my mill and Sil, but my husband's relationship with his mom and sister. I've told my mill I'll call her back in a couple of hours, once my husband's back. I'm dreading that conversation, but I know what my boundaries are. Thank you for the feedback, it helped. Update 2. I spoke to my mill. Since her missed calls and text messages were asking me to call her, I figured I should be the one to call, not my husband. But I put my phone on speaker, so that my husband who was lying on the couch could also hear it. She said that my husband had told her he thought it'd be best if she restricts her trip to 1 month, since it was her first time in Canada, and because we were really busy with my son. She said that ever since my husband had gone to Canada as an 18-year-old, he'd always wanted her to visit for a long duration, and now all of a sudden he was asking her to restrict it when she wanted to help with her grandson, and said she knew I must be the reason why. I said it was a joint decision because of the circumstances, but she wouldn't hear of it. She said if her visiting for more than a month was so outrageous to us, then that's fine, she'll limit her stay, but I should know that in Pakistan in-laws live in the same house with the married couple, like my sil does, and that she had thought I was in touch with my Islamic and Pakistani roots when I was getting married because that's what my husband had told her, but she was disappointed at how whitewashed I was. At this point my husband asked me to give him the phone, but not before I told her that I was totally comfortable with how in tune with my heritage I was, and that apparently so was her son. Told her my husband had just come and handed him the phone. My husband went in the yard to talk, but I was so angry I decided to eavesdrop. He was talking to both my Mill and Phil. He told them that it's not like he fled to Canada in the middle of the night as a student, they both had happily seen him off at the airport. And that when he had introduced me, he hadn't kept the fact that I was born and raised in Canada a secret either. That they can't expect to treat us like a couple in Pakistan. Then he listened a whole lot for like half an hour. I gave him a chair again, and kept telling them that it's different now. They ended the call with him saying that we were both really looking forward to her visit, that we'll make sure it's a great 30 or so days, with us and her grandson. He apologized to me on behalf of his mom, and asked me to please let her lecture go and still be on board with the 1-month plan. I'm looking forward to it much less than I was, but I said fine. Thanks a lot again for the advice. Along with my mother I was able to get good advice from here too, and I think I've managed to resolve this issue. I know myself, I know my Mill staying over for years wasn't something I could deal with, and knowing a lot of people agreed was really helpful. What if she stays longer than a month? I honestly don't know. She said she'll visit for a month but was really upset about the fact that she had to. I'm just going to assume everyone keeps to their word for now. It's Ramadan, and Eid soon as well, our first Eid with our son, to look forward to. I don't want to think about what happens if she decides to stay longer. My family is from the same country as you and I'm Canadian born. Have your mom come over every day. Let her speak to Mill matriarch to matriarch. Have your dad come as well if she starts to act out. She will absolutely try to shit on you every chance she gets, but she will not risk offending your parents. With any luck your mom can also send a little spice back her way. My parents will be hosting her for dinner and all, of course. After hearing about everything that happened, my mom thinks she should come around too. I'm just conflicted if seeing my mom coming around so easily would reinforce my Mill's sense of injustice. My mom left that decision to me. She told me she'll be 5 minutes away whenever I need her. I want to add to this, and I know it sounds paranoid as hell, but after all the Just No Mill stories, I strongly suggest cameras in the areas that baby will be in, so it's not looked at a weird or invasive. The only reason is the passive-aggressive actions and controlling behavior. She may try to break up the marriage by saying you did something when hubby walked out of the room or something of that ilk. Keep a record of things, only if you have the energy to keep track of things. To me, this isn't just culture. This is a woman who expects full control and may try to take it however she can. Take it or leave it, but that's my suggestion. I honestly think I'm going to do this. As icky as it feels to think she would want to deliberately do something like that, her comment about me being untrue to my heritage is still ringing in my ears. Thank you for the suggestion. I agree to stick with the 1-month plan, but it doesn't sound like she's happy with you. I think it's best to have your husband on the call so A, he knows everything she says to you, B, so it doesn't seem like you're the bad guy refusing to let her stay indefinitely and that your husband is also on board with it, and C, so he can do the work of holding the line with his mother and show that he is able to stick up for you. Maybe it'll be fine, but I can just picture Mill saying nasty things to you and then telling your husband she didn't say them and that you're overreacting. It's his side of the family and it should be his job to mediate. Yeah, I think I'm going to wait and do this with him. Thank you for the advice. You and your husband will still need to set boundaries. You know she blames you for the fact that she's not getting what she wants. She is already blaming you for the fact that her son is not giving in to her demands. If she's going to stay with you in your home, she needs to respect the fact that it is not just her son's home. It's your home too. It's not just your husband's son. It's your son, too. She does not get to control or judge your connection to your heritage. If she wants to be welcome in your home, she needs to treat you with respect, and she needs to avoid interfering with your marriage. Your husband needs to be fully prepared to rein her in if she puts even one toe out of line. He needs to be responsible for protecting you from any disrespect from her. Good luck, and I hope you'll be able to come back and let us know it went well. I thought about this more overnight. About what my boundaries/consequences are. First of all, I'm going to let my husband know it's not going to be a month or so. A lot of comments said that leaves it open-ended. It's just going to be a month. My parents' place is 5 minutes away. I'm going to need her to be out by 11:59 p.m. on day 31 or my son and I will be at my parents' by 12:05. She keeps saying she wants to help with my son, but I'm not going to let that take away at all from my bonding time with him. If I at all feel uncomfortable or suffocated during her visit, I'll go with my son to my parents' house until I feel I can come back. Also, the rules regarding intimacy won't be the way they were when we visited Pakistan. In Pakistan it would have been scandalous for my husband and I to give each other a kiss or cuddle in front of a TV if my in-laws were there. But I'm not going to have those rules imposed on us while she's at our house. I don't know if these boundaries seem petty, but after her remarks yesterday I've soured on her quite a bit. My mill is going to be visiting near the end of April for a month. For context, we live in Canada, I was born here, my husband immigrated a decade ago, we got married 2 years ago, and our son is 10 months old. My in-laws live in Pakistan, my parents moved to Canada from Pakistan a year before I was born. My mill had initially planned on staying longer, but I had put my foot down and told my husband I couldn't deal with someone living with us for longer than a month, so she's had to cut short her plan and didn't take that wheel. I had actually posted about this somewhere else previously, and had been to take a look at this subreddit. I had made my peace with the 1-month stay and was fully planning on being cordial during it. Yesterday, we had celebrated Eid at my parents' house. It was our first Eid with our son, and we were all so happy about it, getting to dress him in his cute little traditional kurta shalwar. I sent her some pictures of the event because she always asks us to send her pictures. Her reply was not what I expected. She started lamenting how far we were from them, and said that this is the problem with marrying someone not from Pakistan, that the parents suffer as a result, how unfair it is that my parents get her son and grandson to themselves. My heart literally shrank reading it. I knew she missed us, but to hear her say she essentially regrets our marriage was so hurtful. I just left her on read. I showed it to my husband, he sincerely apologized and thanked me for not responding to her. I have to host her for a month. How am I supposed to do that now? I would have normally asked my mom for advice on this stuff since she's more well acquainted with dealing with someone from Pakistan, but I actually feel she'll lose it at my mill when she visits if I share this with her. I just wanted some advice, and partly wanted to vent. I'm trying to compartmentalize this because we're still celebrating Eid today with some friends and I don't want this to bring me down. Any advice would be appreciated. I remember your previous post, she was applying for a 5-year visa or something mental like that. I would be fully ready and researched to put her in a hotel or Airbnb. She wants to move in with you and to be there for your child's entire infancy. She has gone a short visa at your protest, but a flight can be moved and she could stay 6 months. Be prepared to say no and mean it. I've made it absolutely clear to my husband that if she stays longer than a month, my son and I are going to be at my parents until she's gone. Look, she shouldn't have said anything other than thanking you for the pictures. Her getting all sad about the distance shows some lack of self-awareness and dumping her bad feelings on you. However, I really do think this is just her feeling sad about missing out. Unless she straight up said she regrets your marriage, I'd try to let this one go and see how the visit goes before drawing any conclusions. How have your interactions been with her in the past? Rough since we broke it to her that she has to limit her stay to 1 month. She lashed out at the time, and while I brushed off most of it, I haven't forgotten that she told me she had assumed I was in touch with my Muslim and Pakistani roots when I was getting married, but she was wrong and it was so disappointing how I'd lost my values and how whitewashed I was. I won't be forgetting that. Update 3. Today, my husband told me that her visa application had been rejected. They're applying for the notes regarding the decision, but according to him it's futile, that it was always a 50-50 shot, that the most common reason for rejections is having insufficient ties back home, which makes them think the applicant won't go back, that he had thought having my fill remain there would have fixed that, but apparently not. I'm NGL, it's like a huge weight has been lifted off me. I'm trying to act disappointed, but I was dreading her visit. He said she was inconsolable when he spoke to her earlier, that she had asked him to look into us moving to Pakistan. I love Pakistan, but never going to happen. When he shut that down, she gave him his uncle's number who lives in the UAE for job leads so we could move to the UAE. Again, I'm sure it's a great place, but no, so that we could be a 2-hour flight away from them and have our family grow in an Islamic environment. He told her it's going to be difficult but agreed to talk to him. I was a bit angry about this. I told him there's no way we're moving to the UAE. He said of course we're not, we've built a life here, he has a great career here, but he didn't want to completely shut down his mom. I personally disagree with that. I think she deserves the truth, but whatever. I'm going to talk to her to commiserate tomorrow. It's too late in Pakistan now, because again, while I was no longer looking forward to hosting her, I was fully committed to doing so. Unfortunately, this does mean that most of our family vacations will have to be in Pakistan now since they can't visit us here. We already need to go there in December because they're planning to have his brother's wedding done then. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice here. It sucks that we have all this bad blood now for no reason, like I'm sure she hates me now, and while I've tried very hard to forget what she said about my upbringing and heritage, I can't, and I see her in a whole new light now. I'm going to be comforting to my husband about this, but maybe it was for the best. Better she hates you from Pakistan than from a room in your own home. Congratulations on the escape. True. Thank you. This must be so difficult for you. As you said, your mill has bred bad animosity unnecessarily, but I think a possible band-aid could be a 2-3 week vacation once per year or so to Pakistan so she can meet her grandson. You could possibly sync your visit with a minor Islamic holiday so she can experience a holiday with him physically there. Just a compromise update him. Yeah, that's going to be the plan now. A couple of weeks vacation in Pakistan is great, but I'm just concerned my husband would want all our vacations to be there now. Like I want us to have vacations, just our family, somewhere else too. But that's for later. At least this problem is sorted. I'm so relieved. Instead of every vacation being in Pakistan, consider planning some holidays to meet eels in some other location to which they can travel. That's such a great idea. I'll bring it up for sure when the time comes. Thank you. IDK, be careful about those trios back to Pakistan. A suggestion would to make sure your child only holds a Canadian passport, no dual citizenship. Congrats on avoiding a month-long invasion into your home though. My son and I are only Canadians, my husband is a dual citizen. And I'm going to have my son's documents with me at all times and the Canadian consulate's number saved. I hate thinking about it, but I'm not taking any risks when it comes to him. According to good old Google/Wikipedia on Pakistani citizenship, children born overseas are automatically Pakistani citizens by descent if either parent is a citizen. If I were you, I would be very wary about a trip to Pakistan. What? Why? But we specifically didn't apply for his niqab when he was born, so the last time we visited, him and I had Pakistani visas issued on our Canadian passports while my husband didn't need it. God, this is so annoying. But, thanks so much, I'll talk to my husband about this and look into this. I thought since we didn't apply for his niqab he never became a Pakistani citizen, but if it's just forced on him, I'll look into this. Maybe there's a way of cancelling it since I don't want there to be any ambiguity about which government is supposed to be responsible for him. I'll also see if him being a citizen would affect things if we visited. We have like 8 months to deal with this though, so we can take our time with this, but still so annoying. Update 4. It's been about 3 months since my last update, and a lot has happened. After researching the citizenship issue, we discovered that yes, our son is technically a Pakistani citizen by descent through my husband. We spoke with an immigration lawyer who confirmed this but assured us that as long as we have proper documentation and follow certain precautions, there shouldn't be any issues during our Pakistan trip. My husband has been incredibly supportive through all of this. He's completely dropped the idea of moving to the UAE or Pakistan, and has been very firm with his mother about our boundaries. I think the visa rejection was actually a blessing in disguise because it forced him to confront the reality of our situation. Last month, we had a video call with my in-laws to discuss our upcoming December visit for my Bill's wedding. My Mill was surprisingly cordial, though I could still sense some underlying tension. She kept asking about our son and whether we were teaching him any Urdu. I've actually been making an effort to incorporate more cultural elements into our daily life, not for her approval, but because I do want our son to know his heritage. The real drama happened 2 weeks ago. My husband's uncle from the UAE called him about a job opportunity. Apparently, my Mill had been persistent, and the uncle finally caved and reached out. The position was actually quite impressive, nearly double my husband's current salary, housing allowance, and other perks. For a moment, I saw my husband hesitate, and my heart sank. That night, after our son was asleep, we had a long, honest conversation. My husband admitted that part of him felt guilty for being so far from his family, especially now that we have a child, but he also acknowledged that moving would mean uprooting our entire life, my career, and potentially putting us in a situation where his mother would have much more influence over our family dynamics. "I'd choose us," he finally said. "I choose the life we've built here. I'll call my uncle tomorrow and decline." I can't express the relief I felt. The next day, he called his uncle and then his mother to deliver the news. I wasn't part of that conversation, but he came back looking drained. Apparently, she didn't take it well and accused him of choosing me over his family. He simply told her that I am his family now, along with our son, and that his decision was final. We've been planning our December trip carefully. We'll be staying at a hotel rather than with his parents, which has caused another minor uproar, but my husband insisted. We've also scheduled some time after the wedding to travel within Pakistan, just the 3 of us, which I'm actually looking forward to. My mother has been incredibly helpful through all of this. She's shared her own experiences navigating cultural expectations and has reminded me that it's okay to set boundaries while still respecting traditions. She's even been teaching me some traditional Pakistani recipes that I've been practicing, though my husband assures me that my aloo gosht still needs work. As for our son, he's growing so quickly and has started saying a few words. My husband has been teaching him some Urdu alongside English, and it's adorable hearing him try to repeat both. We've been video calling with my in-laws weekly, keeping the conversations brief and focused on our son. It's not perfect, but it's manageable. I'm still nervous about our December trip, especially after everything that's happened. But I feel more confident in our relationship and our ability to handle whatever comes our way. My husband has proven that he's committed to our little family, and that means everything to me. I've also realized that I can embrace parts of my Pakistani heritage without compromising who I am or my values. It's not about being whitewashed or not, it's about finding the balance that works for our multicultural family. Update 5. It's been about 6 months since my last update, and I'm finally feeling like we've found our rhythm as a family. Our December trip to Pakistan for my Bill's wedding was eventful, to say the least. We stayed at a hotel as planned, which immediately caused tension. My Mill made several comments about how in our culture, family stays with family, but my husband stood firm. The wedding itself was beautiful, my Bill and his new wife seemed genuinely happy, and our son was the center of attention in his little traditional outfit. He charmed everyone, even my Mill temporarily softened around him. The real drama happened on our 3rd day there. My husband had gone out with his father and brother to handle some wedding-related errands, leaving me alone with our son and my Mill at her house for afternoon tea. She started asking innocent questions about our life in Canada, then gradually shifted to more pointed ones about how I was raising her grandson. When I mentioned that we celebrate both Muslim and Western holidays, she clicked her tongue disapprovingly. You know, she said, pouring more tea, when my son left for Canada, I never imagined he would return with someone who would take him further from his roots. I took a deep breath. With all due respect, I think we're creating new roots that honor both our backgrounds. She laughed softly. That's a very Western way of thinking. Some things cannot be mixed. Before I could respond, my son started fussing. As I picked him up, she reached for him. Let me. I hardly get to hold him. I hesitated but handed him over. She immediately started speaking to him in rapid Urdu, cooing and bouncing him. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. Soon you'll come stay with Dadi for a proper upbringing. Your mother means well, but she doesn't understand our ways. I stood up. I'll take him now. She held him closer. He's comfortable with me. I said I'll take him now. My voice was steady but firm. She reluctantly handed him back, muttering something under her breath. The tension was palpable until my husband returned. I pulled him aside immediately and told him what happened. His face darkened, and he asked me to take our son back to the hotel while he spoke with his mother. I didn't learn what was said until later that night. My husband returned to our hotel looking exhausted but resolute. He told me he'd made it clear to his mother that any disrespect toward me or attempts to undermine our parenting would result in us limiting contact, including with our son. She cried, accused me of abandoning my culture, the usual, he sighed. But I think she finally understands I'm serious. The rest of the trip was tense but civil. We still did our planned travel within Pakistan, and despite everything, I fell in love with the landscapes and history. My husband was an excellent guide, showing me places from his childhood and introducing our son to his heritage in ways that felt authentic and meaningful. The most surprising development came 2 months after we returned to Canada. My mill started sending me direct messages, recipes she thought I might like, questions about our son's development, even some old family photos. No passive-aggressive comments, no guilt trips. Just normal mother-in-law stuff. Last month, she even asked if I would teach her some English phrases so she could speak to our son in both languages during video calls. I was suspicious at first, but my husband thinks she's genuinely trying. She's realized she has 2 choices, he explained. She can fight us and lose access, or she can adapt and be part of our lives. We're planning another trip to Pakistan next year, but this time, we're also inviting my in-laws to visit us in Canada for 2 weeks. My husband found a short-term visa option that should work, and I've agreed to host them in our home. 2 weeks feels manageable, and I want to show that I'm making an effort too. My son is now 16 months old and has started saying more words in both English and Urdu. Yesterday, he pointed to a photo of my mill and said Dadi clearly. When I sent her the video, she called immediately, crying happy tears. I don't think we'll ever have the relationship I have with my own mother, but we're finding a way forward that works for all of us. My husband has been my rock through all of this, proving that he meant it when he said he chooses us. As for the UAE job offer, it occasionally comes up in conversation, usually when my husband has had a particularly frustrating day at work. But it remains a what if rather than a real possibility. We've built our life here, and while it's not perfect, it's ours.